I want to welcome everyone to our annual scholarship dinner and thank you for being with us this evening. It's such a wonderful opportunity for us to gather together as a community, which we get to do at Baylor from time to time and really just celebrate so many accomplishments. And we are very fortunate to have so many things to celebrate here at Baylor. Tonight we are going to be able to honor the scholars and those who make our scholarships possible. So we really appreciate you being here and spending time with each other, getting to know each other a little better, and just enjoying the night. We've got a lineup of some student speakers who are going to share their experience, and then a former student of mine who is going to deliver the keynote here tonight, here in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and start. And what I would like to do is I'm going to announce each student's name, and we'll have you stand up where you are and remain standing until the end. And then we will give all of our scholars a round of applause. So I'm going to begin with the Fred AKERS 1972 scholar, Leanne Franklin. ARCS scholar, Madison Williams. The Baylor Faculty Staff Scholar, Balin Kinney. The Johnson BRYANT Scholar, Caleb Hampton. Our Carter Scholars, Wiki Berry, Hank Etzler, Julissa Gerard, Pippa Hill, Rigdon King Anderson, Penelope Kwan, Mimi Masson, Marshall McConville, Maisie Mitchum, Virginia Ann Polk, Kennedy Ray, Finn Ryan, Juliet Sykes, Grace Simmons, Peyton Skeet, Sasha Smith, Caden Sumner, Sam Tavo, Bruin Webster. Our Card Family Foundation Scholar, Hamilton Edelin. Our class of 1971 scholar, Nora Redding. Our John Chew scholar, Connor Pascal. Our Christian scholars, Jackson Babb, Camden Cloud, Merrill Ford, Joshua Hampton, Holly Merritt, Avery Sanders, Avery Shamblin, Jayla Simpkins, and Luke Thompson. Our class of 1948 scholar, Hayden Tekasirawan. Our class of 1949 scholar, Thomas B. Smoot scholar, Lucy Sutter. Our class of 1974 scholar, Noah Gravel. Our Philip Cole 2003 scholar, Nelson McKnight. Our Rob Davidson 1972 scholar, Georgia Johnson. Our Duff family scholar, Sam Dozier. Our Jocon Guild 1905 scholars, Julian Ariano, Carter Kaler, Allison Royal, Jack Shutters, and Sharia Shrihari. Our John Harrison 1984 scholar, Louis Vincent. Our Richard Hayes 1978 scholar, Evan Eubanks. Our Sam Holmes 1983 scholar, Thomas Valinkas. Our Harvey HOWALT scholar, Sergio Sergienko. Our James Johnson scholar, Annika Muhammad. Our Summerfield Johnston 1950 scholars, Nazaya Whaley, Bella White, and Damani White. Our Michelle KADRIE 1991 scholar, Charlotte Murphy. Our Pete McGriff Jr. 1937 scholar, Lee Dozier. Our Amy and Gary Norcross 1983 scholar, Marshall McGahee. Our King Imig 1969 scholar, Carly Rogers. Our Lou Imig 1935 scholar, Connor Sharp. our WOLHMIG 1975 scholar, Teague Johnson, our Pinberry scholar, Amaury Alvarez, our Lewis Rush VMware scholar, Drew Hitchcock, our Spirit of 76 scholar, Oliver Corden, our John B. Stout scholar, Dylan Adkins, our Thomas Family scholar, Allie Johnston, our Mark Wilson 2020 scholar, Mary Alice Lane, and our Luke WORSHAM scholar, Nate Askew. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in a big round of applause for our scholars. Thank you. You may be seated. I'd also like to thank our musicians who played for us this evening, including Tate Harrison, Charles Liu, Raina Park, Vivian Vetzel, our director Ben Spossett, and two of our scholars, Julian Ariano and Finn Ryan. Can we give them a round of applause, please? So to begin tonight, I'm going to ask Joshua Hampton, class of 2024, to come over and deliver our invocation so that we can begin eating. So, Joshua.
Hi, my name is Joshua Hampton. I'm class of 2024 and a 6-year day student, and I will be doing the invocation prayer. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day and for the fellowship we are about to have as a Baylor community. We thank you for the opportunities we have been given to be at this school to better ourselves as a whole. I pray that we commune together and honor the people that have aided our presence to be at this amazing school. We bless the food that we are about to eat and let it nourish our bodies. In your name we pray, amen.
I'm Connor Sharp, as Mr. Angel said, and thank you all for being here tonight. I'm a 7-year day student from Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I want to start off and give thanks where thanks is due, and I want to thank everybody that goes into making this night possible each and every year. I think that this scholarship dinner that we have is such a unique opportunity to bring together some of the best members of our student body and give them the recognition that they deserve. And whether you realize it or not, this event that you're participating in tonight focuses on one of the keystones of Baylor's identity, and that's community. As students, we always hear a chapel talk, or maybe even read an email, about how lucky we are to have these opportunities that we do here at Baylor, but that cannot do justice to what it's like to be a part of this family. 7 years ago, when I first arrived at Baylor, I honestly knew about 5 people in the class of 2023, but that would quickly change for me, because whenever you decide to call this place your home, it decides to bring you in like you've always been a part of it. And now standing up here tonight with just about 3 to 4 months left, it seems like my first time going into Barks Hall was yesterday. I couldn't be prouder to call myself a member of this family and a soon-to-be alumni. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bella White. I'm a 7-year day student from Cleveland, Tennessee. And the most valuable thing that I've learned throughout my Baylor career is respect for myself and others. Many of the people I see every day have their own personal story, a story that makes up their life and is brought to Baylor to create a more diverse culture and add to this community I call family. For my story, I was a little girl from a small town about to start the biggest change in her life, middle school. Not only was I transferring from public to private school, I had to drive 40 minutes away from home every day, which wasn't too bad saying I got my extra minutes of sleep in the car going to school. From that first day, however, I realized that my story may not be different from everyone else. There were many other students making big adjustments in order to be at Baylor. A big one for me has been being able to communicate with many unfamiliar faces. Basketball was the tool I used to stimulate the path for my story. I was given the opportunity to play varsity basketball as an 8th grader. Though it seemed very intimidating, it was also a learning experience. It allowed me to meet different girls at different ages that embraced me as a peer. They respected me, even though they didn't know me, and showed compassion towards me in the transition I was going through. This supportive community has shaped who I am. My experience at Baylor has prepared me for the challenges ahead. This place will forever be somewhere I will call home, and I'm extremely thankful it has been part of my story. And I also wanted to thank the group of people that create this special dinner every year at my favorite place on campus. And lastly, thank you to my family. To my mom, who wakes me up every morning and through rain or shine, starts my car, while my dad, who shows his support by sleeping peacefully in bed. And my brothers for being the best role models a little sister can ask for. You guys have been by my side through everything, and I can't wait to start my next chapter with you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Louis Vincent. I'm a senior and a 2-year boarding student from Montreal, Canada. I'm a prefect of Harrison Hall. I play football, and I run track. First and foremost, I just want to thank everybody for coming here tonight and making this dinner possible. None of us would be here without you all. My experience here has been nothing short of amazing. 2 years ago, I came into a school that, because of COVID, I had never even visited. Regardless, I was welcomed like a family member. I was given opportunities academically and athletically, and I was supported every step of the way by our faculty and students. Speaking of which, I met people from all over the U.S. and all over the world, and I learned a lot from these people. One lesson I learned from my coaches and my peers that really stood out to me is to take pride in leaving something better than you found it. And when I look around this room, I can think of no better statement to describe Baylor. I also learned to tuck my shirt in when I see Coach Clark. So I would like to thank each and every one of you for leaving Baylor better than you found it, and I promise everyone here is doing the same. Thank you.
Hey, y'all. I'm Penelope Quinn, a 4-year boarder from Lexington, Kentucky. In life, the what-ifs can drive you insane. What if I had remembered to wear my rain jacket today? What if Catholic had beaten us yesterday? What if I didn't go to Baylor? Recently, my friends from back home have been bragging about their snow days, and it makes me wonder, what if I lived back at home and was sleeping in? I wouldn't be wearing a uniform or have room inspections every Sunday, but I also would never get to taste a fresh dining hall biscuit first thing in the morning. I would never have met my closest friends from the volleyball team and go to state with them. I wouldn't paint the kitchen in Hunter Hall with my dorm, laugh at my Enviro teacher's jokes, learn to love climbing with Walkabout, write articles about burning boats and heroic teachers, explore Panamanian jungles, lifeguard, camp council, and walk outside between classes, measuring time with the changing colors of the leaves. So sure, there's a whole lifetime of what-ifs that I won't get to experience. But the reality of what I'm living right now proves far more potent. I am beyond lucky to experience Baylor's education and opportunities, and I want to thank everybody here for making that possible.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amadi Alvarez, and I just want to thank you guys for coming out. I'm a prefect in Provo and wrestler here, and it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. David Knox, our keynote speaker. Also a member of Baylor's class of 2002 and a member of Baylor's Board of Trustees since 2019. Mr. Knox is the fourth of 8 children and came to Baylor from Dalewood Middle School as a 9th grader as a recipient of the John Roy Baylor Scholarship. Once at Baylor, he went on to become a star running back in football and was a star member of Baylor's track team, competing in 4 events and helping the team bring home a state championship in 2000. And again to the team bring home a state championship in 2002. Respected among his peers, Mr. Knox was elected homecoming king his senior year. Dedicated to his studies, he went on to earn acceptance into Yale University, where he played football. Mr. Knox graduated from Yale with a degree in mechanical engineering and currently serves as a senior director of operations and planning and performance with Archaea Energy, the largest renewable natural gas producer in the United States. With more than 15 years of experience in the engineering field, Mr. Knox has worked his way up from field inspector and design engineer to senior level management. Along the way, he has had a hand in projects that range from the work in LaGuardia Airport, New York's Parks and Recreation, Con Edison, the New York State Thruway Authorities Major Deegan Expressway, Superstorm Sandy restoration of High L. Carey Tunnel in Brooklyn Plaza, among many others. In his current role, he manages all capital improvements and conducts the data analysis across a 19-facility fleet of renewable energy facilities that capture waste emissions and convert them into energy. Mr. Knox lives in Westchester County, a suburb of New York City, with his wife and their 2 young children. Please join me in welcoming Mr. David Knox, 2002, to the podium. Thank you.
So he called me Mr., and I feel old. And they all read their speeches from their smartphones, and here I am with old school paper. Hey, David, it's Chris Angel. I would love for you to consider being our speaker for our scholarship dinner next month. This was a text I received about a month ago. I texted a screenshot of it to my wife, and I asked, is this real? I then waited for his follow-up text, which would probably contain the letters JK, LOL, our term we used when I was your age, psych. I then responded to Mr. Angel saying verbatim, wow, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. You know you're texting David Knox, right? Question mark, sweaty face emoji. 6 minutes went by. See, that wasn't even 6 seconds and y'all are getting restless. I assured myself that he did in fact text the wrong David and instead meant to go a little further in his contacts and text David Justice, David Letterman, heck, the soccer player David Beckham. This is Baylor we're talking about. Baylor School that currently has students working with NASA to launch a satellite into space. Baylor School that studied COVID-19 to make national news. This is Baylor School ranked number 3 in the nation for sports programs and holds more state championships than any 2 schools combined. Yeah, I think he might have texted the wrong David. But the text silence would eventually end to these words, yes, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Love your story and your message. We jumped on the phone and he further assured me that he believed that I could connect with these children. But Chris, full disclosure, you had me at the first exclamation point. I hung up the phone feeling eager, but also a bit anxious at the usage of the word connect. It's been a while since I was here on campus in your age. Let's see, I had hair, and actually a lot of it. And thinking about all that has changed, I mean, it's been a lot. Let's do a quick assessment. 2002, there was no Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Yes, you could update all your friends with a photo at the same time, but it happened once a year in the form of a Christmas card. To Snap, and if someone asked me for my TikTok, after scratching my head, I'd look at my watch and provide them the current time of day. We also didn't text message. Well, not necessarily, because back then, I could call my dad's pager from a landline and leave him the code 6455. Now, while y'all try to figure that out, Dad, what did I just text you? Milk. That's right, we were out of milk. Thank you, Dad. Regardless of how hard it is for me to conclude whether or not I deserve to be here in front of you, let me not fail to say, it is an honor. It is a pleasure, and oh my God, am I blessed to be standing here making another Baylor memory that I will never forget. And if I deliver it well enough, maybe y'all won't forget it either. All right. To the faculty, staff, my fellow board members, thank you. You guys make all this possible by your service. To the parents, you've done well. Be proud and be blessed. But your job is not done yet. They will still be depending on you, so stay sharp. To the donors, thank you, thank you, thank you. 1, 2, 3. 3 times exclamation points. I am a testament of what a scholarship can do, so I thank you again. I also want to thank the Coles and the Bryants. Seeing Johnson and Phillips' name next to a scholarship is far more bitter than it is sweet. I sweat and I bled with those guys, and they will always be in my heart. And your scholarship will always keep them in the heart of this campus. Thank you. Lastly, to you scholars, I could use very big words to sum up how amazing you are. Faith, honor, excellence, magnanimitas. But Chris told me to connect, so I'm just gonna say, you rock. Congratulations on making it this far, and best of luck in the future. All right, now Chris gave me all this confidence enough to travel down here to tell you my story, so let's get into it. Now this is a story all about how my life worked out from then till now. Now I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a school called Baylor. Baylor. You know, and I can't put it into exact words, all the phenomenal events that have occurred in my life, or we'd be here until the fall semester. But thanks to an insatiable appetite for on-the-spot storytelling that my 4-year-old daughter holds, I think I can put together a brief, believable, and hopefully entertaining narrative. Once upon a time, it was a night not too dissimilar from tonight. God decided that he was going to bestow upon one of his creations a series of miracles to make that child's life enriched and bountiful. So he took all the planets and formed a cannon, and he aligned the stars down that cannon and shone a light down on the state of Tennessee, over to Chattanooga, over to East Ridge Hospital in the delivery ward, right as this baby emerged. Boom! Miracle number 1. That child was placed into the loving arms of parents by the name of Joseph and Daphne. They would provide that child with endless encouragement and love and 7 best friends who, to this day, are his main competition in card games and backyard kickball. Spoiler alert, that child was me. I would go on to thrive in the Chattanooga City Public Schools. And I was quite an athlete to boot, thanks Mom and Dad. But I realized, however, that I was not a fan of the environments of those schools. I felt uncomfortable, I felt uncared for, and often I felt afraid. I shared this with my mom and dad, who, acknowledged that I felt that way, but there was really no plan necessarily to change things. But little did we know that up above, the planets were forming into a barrel, the stars were aligning, light was emitted, and boom, miracle. At Dalewood Middle School, there was employed a guidance counselor by the name of Catherine Murray. Catherine had a son. His name was Ned Murray. He also worked in education as an assistant dean of students at a school called Baylor. And that year, the administration and the board had decided to award a need-based scholarship to an entering freshman. Of course, being her mom, Miss Murray got the notice first. She called in some of her brightest students and told us about this opportunity. So I visited Baylor. And I was sure we were on a college campus, so I asked if we made a wrong turn. Regardless, I interviewed, took a test. I left, not feeling all that great. A few months went by. I was out cutting grass with my Uncle Leonard here. He would employ me during the summertime to make a little extra change. I come home, and in the kitchen is my mom and my older sister sitting at the table. And as I walk in, my mom slides a letter across the table. Okay, I have to make a confession. I applied at the school across town. I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket, okay? I'm sorry. Sorry. I get the letter, I open it, and it says, "Dear David Knox, congratulations. You have been accepted to the class of 2002. Please submit your response with a check worth $13,000 by the end of the month to claim your seat." Not sweet. $13,000. I may well have asked for $13 million. Not happening. Sorry, I'm gonna go sulk in my bedroom. But before I could leave the room, Mom slid another letter that she was hiding from me across the table. On it was a big red B. Open the letter. Dear David Knox, congratulations, you have been accepted to the class of 2002. Now, I saw Baylor's campus. I expected them to want like $30,000. But little did I know that up above, the planets were forming into a barrel. The stars aligned. Boom, miracle. I was also awarded the John Roy Baylor Scholarship, which would cover my tuition for 4 years. Wow. Well, I entered campus that fall, donning my red Baylor B-shirt, which couldn't find one, sorry, my khaki pants, and another miracle, I found a pair of lugs that were the exact same red as the B-shirt and a khaki bottom. The prince had arrived. I arrived at Baylor and felt instant joy. I felt comfort. I felt loved. I strived in the classroom. I loved my classes. I loved my teachers. I loved the campus. Teachers seemed to love me. I loved my classmates. They seemed to love me. I got to go on a Jim Pierce leadership trip. I got an award senior year, selected by the students. I got one selected by the teachers. And as my man said, I was homecoming king. So honestly, me calling myself a prince is being humble. I thought I couldn't get any better, y'all. But little did I know, the planets were forming again into that barrel. The stars aligned, light, boom, another miracle. I get accepted to Yale University. Wow, that was not supposed to happen. But there I was. I would enter Yale. Again, I thrived in the classroom. I thrived on the football field. And I would go on to graduate with a mechanical engineering degree and make my life in the Big Apple, New York City. Now, this is the point in my speech where I would typically give all you beautiful, young, impressionable students some advice, things that I wish I knew when I were your age. Things like work before play, be open to new people and new experiences, challenge yourselves, take on that class or that task that is outside of your comfort zone, believe in the power of a power nap. Those are the best 10 minutes you will experience as an undergrad. More importantly, do not forget to set your alarm before said power nap. And finally, don't take your leopard print comforter to campus. Not a good look. This is all great advice, y'all, and I encourage you to listen to it. However, I can promise you've probably all heard it before, and I guarantee you're gonna hear it again. So instead, I'm gonna leave you with just one point that I want you to remember, hence now and forevermore. Simple phrase, we are Baylor. You guys have said it 1,000 times by now. But don't just remember the words. Remember the meaning behind them, and that meaning never changes. Baylor is not the brick and mortar holding these magnificent buildings up. Baylor is not the stage that supports the talented fine arts to display. Baylor is not the stadiums or the fields that hold all its athletic fame. Baylor is the spirit of all the people gracing those classrooms. It is the spirit of the talent performing on those stages. It is the spirit of those athletes and those supporters and the fans rooting night after night. As I was thinking back on points that I would use for this speech, several come back to me, proving the words, we are Baylor. Freshman year, the Confederate flag was banned from campus from a proposal that was started by a very small minority, about 8% of the student body. The board and administrative staff of Baylor understood that 92% was not enough to encompass we. They decided on behalf of the smallest minority to make 100% feel welcome and proud to say, we are Baylor. Senior year, I had a pretty sizable debt in the bookstore, which was keeping me from my diploma. Those planets were aligning again, and boom, miracle. It disappeared. To this day, I don't know who paid that balance, but I do know that they understood the meaning of the words, we are Baylor. Yes, I might have been leaving that campus, but my spirit would remain. Summer after summer, I returned here, and I would use those facilities down there. In doing so, allowed me to go on and set records at Yale for benching, squatting, jumping, running, etc. The staff who remained here and allowed me on campus day in and day out understood the meaning of the words, "We are Baylor." The waves that I made in New Haven playing football would reverberate back here to Baylor, and we'd all rejoice in those accomplishments. Today in this room, every donor gives year in and year out to students they've never met because of their love and connection to this institution. Perfect example of the meaning, we are Baylor. Moms, dads, uncles, aunts, cousins, best friends, you are sitting next to these bright lights who have come and left their legacy here on this campus, and because of your connection to them, you too are Baylor. Scholars, professional athlete. Mrs. President of the United States, I see doctors, I see lawyers, I see scientists, I see architects. You will go on to lead the future of this world. But no matter how far you go, no matter how big you become, no matter how many other organizations you become tied to, you will always remain tied to this one as well. Remember, whether you, from the day you enter campus until you are long gone underground, you will always be Baylor. So I ask my students tonight, who are we? You can say it. We are Baylor. One more time, students, who are we? We are Baylor. Everyone in the room tonight, who are we? We are Baylor. Thank you.
I think I messaged the right David. What do you think? When I think back to what each of our current students shared with us this evening, and then I think about what David just shared, his whole journey, his whole experience that led to tonight, it really inspires me to look out in the room and to think 20 years from now, who in this room, which students are going to be standing up here delivering their message and talking about the power of Baylor and what Baylor has done for each and every one of you, and how everyone in this room, through our generosity and through scholarship, provides additional opportunities that make Baylor. We are Baylor, absolutely. I love the message, and that we do say it, but it is what we feel. And I'll tell you this, the more you go through it, it's hard to feel it as much. We feel it to a certain extent while we're students, but we feel it more and more when we go to that next level, when we look back and we remember our experience fondly. I actually do remember David very well as a student, and it gives me a lot of pride as an educator to see him come back and deliver this message. And I think that's why you've got so many teachers and other people that make Baylor work in this room. That is why we do what we do, to see the impact that we're able to make on students, like all the students here, and then to come back as David did. I'd love for you to join me in one more round of applause for David and our speakers who spoke to us this evening. Thanks again for all the generosity that everybody has provided. Thanks for coming out tonight and getting to know each other a little better and celebrating. Let's continue this excellence that is We Are Baylor, and go Big Red.